Now at 10, voters in Joplin push back on the city's plan to replace Memorial Hall with a memorial park. Plus, new federal regulations could spell trouble for some area first responders. And some Baxter Springs residents create a buzz about a beekeeping class.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Authorities respond to a shooting tonight in Joplin. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Tanya Bach, and this is a breaking story. Joplin police responded to reports of gunfire near 18th and Annie Baxter in Joplin at about 8:30 this evening. Now, this is an active crime scene as we go to air. Captain Will Davis confirms to KOAM's Shannon Becker at least 2 people were rushed to Joplin's hospitals suffering gunshot wounds. And police ask everyone to avoid the area during this active investigation, and we will have updates as this story develops. Joplin City Council members vote to demolish Memorial Hall to build a memorial park in its place. Since the council vote, some community members are upset the vote was not open to residents. Michael Landris is a member of the Facebook group Save the Joplin Memorial Hall. Most of the 500 members want to preserve Memorial Hall as a piece of Joplin history rather than replacing it with a park.
And we're not against, that kind of stuff. It's actually kind of neat to see. You can see all kinds of birds and stuff. But big stuff like this needs to go to a public vote.
KOAM reached out to the city of Joplin but has yet to receive a response. OSHA, the federal agency that sets and enforces standards for workplace conditions, is proposing a new standard titled Emergency Response. If issued, it would replace the existing fire brigade standard. OSHA says they want to address a wider range of emergency responders and include standards to protect responders from a variety of occupational hazards, such as requiring no trucks to be more than 15 years old. But the proposal is drawing concerns from firefighters across the country, and they say these regulations could prove to be detrimental, especially to small, rural, and volunteer departments.
Your small towns out and about in the area, we all know who they are, what they are. They don't always have a huge budget. They don't have a tax base. So, like you said a while ago, it takes 5 years of chili feeds just to buy a used truck. And those are the departments that are going to be affected the most.
OSHA says they welcome and encourage public comments in response to the proposed rule, and they have extended the window for comment until July 22nd. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, it turned out to be hot and humid outside for us today. Temperatures into the 90s, of course. We are into summer now, almost officially, meteorologically, yes. 87 was our average high. 91 was our official high set right about 4 p.m. And everybody across the region, we're still fairly warm. Temperatures mainly into the lower 80s, and we still have a heat index after 10 o'clock. Still feels like mid to upper 80s to near 90 degrees. A little bit of a breeze helping us out. It's going to stay breezy as we go through the overnight hours, but we do have clear skies across the region. As we go into your morning hours, we're going to drop back to about 71, 75 by 7, 81 by 10 a.m. Heat and humidity stick around. We're going to look at some rain chances here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. While many people cannot wait to light up the fireworks season, the state fire marshal says safety must come first. Even though drought conditions in Missouri have eased, the Division of Fire Safety is urging Missourians to continue to exercise extreme caution if they choose to use consumer fireworks as part of their July 4th celebrations. Across the nation, July 4th is not only the busiest day of the year for fireworks, it's the busiest day of the year for fires. It's also a busy day for injuries, and we have a complete list of tips to keep you and your family safe while enjoying fireworks on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, the financial website WalletHub released its list of the most patriotic states in America, and you might be surprised where the 4 states landed. While Virginia topped the list overall, Kansas took the top spot in our area, coming in at 14th overall. The Show Me State came in at 22nd, followed by Oklahoma at 38th. Arkansas came in at number 50. WalletHub based its poll on a number of factors, including military enlistees and veterans per state. share of adults who voted in the 2020 presidential election, and AmeriCorps volunteer per capita. You can check out our website for a link to the full list. Well, Southeast Kansas town is earning national recognition for its revitalization efforts. Every year, Smithsonian Magazine puts out a list of the best small towns to visit. This year, Humboldt, Kansas made the cut. With a population of just over 1,800, the magazine credits the organization's A Bolder Humboldt with redeveloping the community as a hotspot for entrepreneurs and tourists.
I think it is, I think it probably feels good to the community to know that there are people who recognize that it needed the attention and that we want people to live here in Humboldt. So I think that for the people who have lived here for a long time, it probably brings back a sense of how they grew up, and I'm sure that it's pretty enjoyable for them to see.
You can find the full list on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, some Baxter Springs, Kansas residents today got a lesson on beekeeping. The Cherokee County area beekeepers hosted the class at the Johnston Public Library for adults and teens curious about the little pollinators. The intro-level course taught them the basics of caring for a hive and all of the benefits that come with it.
The first thing that most people always ask is, have I been stung? And the answer is always yes. Everybody has probably been stung by a bee, but if you are careful, probably you're not going to anger them too much. They don't want to sting you. Honeybees are one of the only stinging insects that can only sting you one time. After they sting you one time, they will die.
The USDA says bees are a crucial part of the ecosystem, pollinating crops, trees, and flowers. Israel says it will observe a daily pause in military action to increase the flow of aid. That story is coming up. And a Missouri judge overturns a more than 40-year-old murder conviction. Israel's military paused its fighting for 11 hours along a crucial supply route in southern Gaza today as part of a tactical pause to increase the flow of desperately needed aid. The move comes as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu dissolved his influential war cabinet that has been advising him on the war against Hamas. Chris Livesay has the story.
It was a coalition of rivals meant to sow unity in Israel after the Hamas attacks of October 7th and the conflict that followed in Gaza. Last week, that changed when Benny Gantz, the leading moderate opponent of the prime minister, left the war cabinet over the absence of a day-after plan for Gaza. The war cabinet now dismantled, that leaves Netanyahu only with the hard right as the linchpin of his support. The shakeup comes after Israel announced a tactical pause in the fighting, limited to 7.5 miles of this road in the Rafah area, during daylight hours only, to allow more aid for displaced people like Ibrahim Shaban al-Dadu. There's no aid, medicine, food, or water coming in, and even the sick people can't leave, he tells our CBS News team in Gaza. We're isolated from the world. But if this pause holds, it could at least address some of these overwhelming needs as the offensive continues in Rafah. Israeli forces say they now control 70% of this Hamas stronghold. The UN says 1.3 million people have fled the city since the fighting began. And as the Israeli public grows more impatient, says diplomat and staunch Netanyahu critic Alan Pincus.
Because they think it is 8 months. It's too long. There's no clear victory. There's no decisive victory that can be announced.
Chris Livesay, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
While it may be too soon to evaluate, UNICEF says they've seen no more aid than usual entering Gaza, and the humanitarian pier the U.S. built is down for repairs again due to rough seas. Officials hope it'll be up and running later this week. Well, today, Greene County authorities arrest a man after he fired a gun at police. The incident happened around 4 this afternoon. Authorities say members of the Greene County Sheriff's Office Fugitive Apprehension Unit were serving a felony warrant when 41-year-old Theodore Davis started shooting at them. One of the shots hit a deputy, but the deputy was not injured thanks to the rifle plates in the deputy's vest. The deputy was taken to a hospital for evaluation, though. According to the sheriff's office, deputies and family members were able to contact Davis and get him to come out of the house peacefully. Well, Sandra Him has been in a Missouri prison for more than 40 years, and she could be out in less than a month. She was convicted in the 1980 murder of a librarian named Patricia Jeske in St. Joseph, Missouri. A judge overturned the conviction last week, saying the evidence of Him's innocence is clear and convincing. Her legal team claims police ignored evidence that pointed to a St. Joseph police officer. The officer died in 2015. The Buchanan County prosecutor will decide if there will be a new trial or if the case will be dismissed. A little later, millions of Americans will soon be in the path of dangerous heat, just days before the official start of summer.
Plus, we've had some heat around our neck of the woods. How long is it going to be sticking around? We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, a hot, humid day for us today. Temperatures into lower 90s during the afternoon, which the heat getting up there. Right now, it's still pretty warm. A nice shot of our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo's just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, let's look at the temps earlier today. Most of us near 90, if not into the lower 90s. And it's still warm, even right now. Check this out. Greenfield 79. We have Pineville at 81, Bentonville at 80. We can go to Afton 84, Pittsburgh 82, 83 in Chautauqua. Yates Center is sitting at 84 degrees. Plus, the humidity is up there. So in the summertime, we always talk about dew points, which is another way to measure how much humidity is in the atmosphere. When the dew points get into the upper 60s to lower 70s, like we are now, that puts us into that sticky, kind of muggy range. And that's what we're going to see as we go through the next few days. Also, on top of that, we're going to have winds which are going to be gusting near 30 during the morning hours. They start to back off a little bit tomorrow evening, and then they come down as we go into Wednesday. But at least Tuesday is going to be on the windy side. So your wind forecast, kind of an October trash can situation, but at least the winds will calm down a little bit for the middle of the week. All right, not too much going on outside. We have pretty much clear skies. We're going to stick with the clear skies for us tonight. Let's drop south. We have some tropical moisture that will start to evect north. In fact, south of that, ooh, where did that turkey come from? But south of that, that's where we have some tropical moisture. I was using the interactive button. I guess somebody changed it to a turkey instead of, I know. All right, here's our next wave, and then we'll take that moisture down to our south, and that will give some chances for a few isolated thunderstorms by the time we head into Wednesday. All right, overall pattern, the reason we have got out of severe weather season is we are switching to our summertime pattern. Jet stream lifts north, so we don't get any big storms systems in here. Of course, we can get showers and thunderstorms like we are going to see on Wednesday, and we do have a little stronger system which is going to roll out late Friday, Saturday into Sunday, and this will drag a cold front in that could give us some strong to severe storms, but traditional severe weather season is done. All right, starting into lower 70s by morning, going to the mid 80s as we get into the afternoon, and then we could see an isolated thunderstorm, high temps near 90. Tomorrow night, much of the same, drop back near 70 degrees, and then as we go into Wednesday, a few more isolated thunderstorms popping up in the afternoon. Most of you will stay dry, but there are going to be some hit and miss storms out there. All right, 75 in the morning, 84 by noon, high temp of 89 for you tomorrow, plus those heat indices up there, the way it's going to feel to your skin into the low to mid 90s once again for us tomorrow. 88 on Wednesday, 88 Thursday, 91 on Friday. We go to 93 on Saturday. Some scattered thunderstorms as we head into the weekend.
I don't think the turkeys like this kind of heat either.
I don't think they do.
No.
It's not even turkey season.
No. But it looked like he was trying to fan you because you were getting hot.
Maybe.
Like the rest of us. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, just a few days from the start of summer, millions of Americans have already felt the dangerous heat. Close to 60 million people will be under heat advisories at some point in the coming days. Danya Bacchus has more.
It's still a few days until summer officially begins, but from Boston,
it's a concern for the elderly.
To Indiana,
I don't like the heat very much, but especially the humidity.
And across much of the nation, Americans are bracing for intense temperatures. The National Weather Service says the first significant heat wave of the season will cover large swaths of the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Northeast.
I don't really like the hot, so this is going to be very painful for me.
I looked at the forecast, I saw, all right, it's going to be toasty on Monday.
This New Jersey family visiting Chicago found a park to cool down in as the mercury flirted with all-time highs Monday.
That's why we came here. We knew there was like some water relief.
While these dogs and their owners found relief at a nearby beach. In New York City opened cooling centers.
Call 911 if you or someone you know displays the following signs: hot, dry skin or cold, clammy skin.
The so-called heat dome is forecast to drag on through the weekend as it moves east. In Texas, the governor activated emergency response resources ahead of tropical weather in the Gulf.
We are expecting a very active hurricane season this year.
The National Hurricane Center says the system could become a tropical storm by late Tuesday. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Houston residents are being told to have emergency plans in place as hurricane season gets underway. Still ahead, 5 members of the Pittsburgh State track and field team qualify for the U.S. Olympic trials, and Pittsburgh High School hosts a wrestling camp. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
The 2024 U.S. Track and Field Olympic Trials begin this Friday in Eugene, Oregon. Pitt State will be well represented in them. Fresh off winning both the men's and women's D2 Outdoor National Championships, PSU sends 5 athletes to the Olympic trials. 3 male athletes from Pitt State have Olympic trial qualifying times. Trey Betts in the triple jump, Hunter Jones in the decathlon, and Dalen Williams in the 110-meter hurdles. On the women's side, Anna Childress makes it in the triple jump. Kyla Davis does so for pole vault. Now, Davis was a national runner-up this outdoor season. Childress, Betts, Jones, and Williams, all 4 of them, won individual national championships last month. 3 former gorillas headed to the Olympic trials as well. Lewis Rollins and Cordell Tinch, the 2 of them, in the 110-meter hurdles. Brett Thompson is there in the javelin. Now, to earn a spot on Team USA for the Olympics, these athletes will need to finish in the top 3 of the final round for their respective events.
It shows where our program is and where it's going to have 5 athletes, current athletes that still have eligibility, competing on the biggest stage, and to be able to represent, Pittsburgh State at the U.S. trials. I mean, it's really amazing. It's spectacular. I mean, there's a lot of words. It's a whole lot of fun, but I think these kids also want to go and prove what type of athletes they are and what kind of program we have.
Just really prideful for my community. Everyone there has got my back, and ever since out of high school they've been there, and so I'm just really happy and blessed to be able to represent my town and my community, Pittsburgh, Nickerson, and Kansas as a whole.
Pittsburgh High School is hosting a free wrestling camp. It begins today, lasts until Wednesday. No pre-registration or prior experience is necessary in order to compete. Now, there are 2 separate sessions for 1st through 6th graders and 7th through 12th graders. PHS wrestling coach L.C. Davis says it's a way to give back to the community that has supported the program greatly.
Oh man, the community sport is awesome here in Pittsburgh. I'm thankful for that and grateful for that. We've come a long ways in the last 5-6 years since I've been here, and still got more to accomplish and more to go for.
Switching gears to Mink League Baseball, Nevada on the road at Jefferson City tonight. Just not the Griffins' night. They're down 13-2 in the 7th inning. Now Nevada off until Thursday. That's when it has a doubleheader against Chillicothe. Over to Major League Baseball, Cardinals win a wild one tonight, 7-6. The final score, they beat the Marlins in 12 innings. St. Louis, with the win, improves to 1 game above 500 on the season. These two will play each other again tomorrow. Now tonight is Game 5 of the NBA Finals between the Celtics and Mavericks, as was the case with Game 4. If Boston wins tonight, it earns the 18th NBA championship in franchise history. Well, the Celtics do exactly that. They dominate the Mavericks 106-88 en route to their first NBA championship in 16 years. Now the win brings the Celtics championship total to 18, like I mentioned. That's the most in the NBA. The Lakers have the second most with 17. I think that stat is of interest to a lot of fans of both the Celtics, the Lakers, and just the NBA as a whole, that coming into tonight, the two of them were tied. Now, at least for one more season, or however long it'll go, the Celtics are in first place.
Interesting. And I know we have some pretty hefty Celtics fans in the newsroom.
Yeah,
so
that we do.
Tonight has been a big night for them.
Of course.
All right, thanks, John. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this. All right, final check of weather.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's going to stay hot. It's going to stay humid. And maybe a random storm tomorrow. High temp of 89. 88 on Wednesday. A few more pop-up storms, and then 90s return as we head into the weekend with a better chance for rain late Saturday.
Okay, I'm sure people are going to want it by then.
Yeah, my grass has got a few little brown spots.
Mine could just die. Then I wouldn't have to mow it.
Yeah,
final note?
For sports, the Joplin Outlaws back in action tomorrow. They play Abilene, who's in first place in the Mid-American League. It's the first time they played them this year.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow. Have a great night and an even better Tuesday.